Hey guys, it's good to be back in the studio. I've got a great big rundown for you. We're going to start with Charles Martinet news from Nintendo. It's kind of a sad day in Nintendo land. Charles Martinet is hanging up his Mario microphone. It was announced by Nintendo of America in a tweet today, and they said this: Charles Martinet has been the original voice of Mario in Nintendo games for a long time, as far back as Super Mario 64. Charles is now moving into the brand new role of Mario Ambassador. With this transition, he will be stepping back from recording character voices for our games, but he'll continue to travel the world sharing the joy of Mario and interacting with you all. It has been an honor working with Charles to help bring Mario to life for so many years, and we want to thank and celebrate him. Please keep an eye out for a special video message from Shigeru Miyamoto and Charles himself, which we will post at a future date. And then Charles Martinet followed up with a tweet of his own. He said, "My new adventure begins. You are all number one in my heart. Woohoo!" Hold on, I got to do that again. My new adventure begins. You are all number one in my heart. Woohoo! I know. Not as good as Charles, but what incredible work Charles has provided to us all. And GameSpot has confirmed that Charles is not going to be voicing Mario in the new Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So we're going to find out who the new Mario is with that game. But thank you so much, Charles Martinet. You've been incredible as Mario, and we wish you the very best. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you've probably been wondering where I've been. Well, last week I took a trip out to Los Angeles to visit Konami, where they showed us a few games. They showed us the new Super Bomberman R2, which was a lot of fun. They showed us the new castle mode that's being introduced into the Bomberman franchise. That was a gas to play. They showed us Signy All Guns Blazing. And yes, they gave us some hands-on time with Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, and I got some details for you guys. Break it down. What are we getting out of the Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 1?
Konami's really set a standard for their collections, whether it be our Castlevania collections, our Turtle collections. For Metal Gear, we had to do the exact same thing. What we wanted to do is not only excite core fans like yourself and me, but also bring in a whole new generation of fans. And so what we've done is we've gotten obviously the original 1, 2, and 3 in terms of the solids, but we've also brought in things like Metal Gear 2, Snake's Revenge, and a deep dive, and I mean deep dive of bonus material. Like, you're talking scripts, we're talking books with like backgrounds of characters, where fans, new and old, can really get into it. And I think most importantly, we're bringing it to all the platforms that matter, right? I'm gonna sit down with my child and I'm gonna play Metal Gear 2 on the Switch. And then I'm gonna go, after he goes to bed, I'm gonna play Metal Gear 3 on Steam. And I know people who are lining up to play all the original games on PlayStation or Xbox, and that's what I'm really excited about. Anybody who wants to play these games is gonna have the chance for the first time or for the 15th time.
Which is really cool, because historically these games have been tied to PlayStation in some capacity. They've gravitated over to other platforms, but here it is on every single machine that's available right now.
Absolutely.
You showed it off on the Nintendo Switch. Is there a big difference between the way the games run and handle across the different platforms, or is it pretty much parity?
It's pretty much parity. There are accommodations made for any given platform, obviously. So you'll see minor differences in terms of like console power and how they handle it, but overall the fundamental experience of the game is the same from when you'll remember it back in the day. And the accommodations are always quality of life improvements. So even on the Switch, you're talking about the level of control that you're going to have is going to be higher than perhaps what you remember back in the day playing, just because the Switch controllers and the Switch itself is so much stronger. PlayStation, Steam, Xbox, all the same way. You'll see those little things that it's all that game you love, which is that little bit of extra that makes you happy.
And of course, because this collection is coming up so fast, I had to ask Konami what's next. The big question is, when might we see more? When might we see a sequel to this, but also a new Metal Gear? Is that something you guys are talking about?
Look, Delta's public, and I look forward to speaking to you next time around about Delta. And that'll be our next conversation, all right? I'll invite you right now. Whenever we do that, whenever we do another event like this, you're invited. We'll talk more, and we'll talk more about the future at that point.
Okay, very cool. So this is kind of a new beginning, I think, for Konami and the Metal Gear Solid franchise, in a way.
I think it's not a new beginning. I think it's a continuation of our passion.
Okay.
A continuation of the brand. And I think that in a lot of ways, this is the perfect point to bring it back.
Now, Signy All Guns Blazing was a really interesting demo. I didn't really know anything about this game, so this was a very nice surprise. Let's take a look. Take us into what All Guns Blazing Signy is all about.
Sure. So Signy is a spaceship top-down shooter. You're using 2 sticks. The story is you're a single pilot with a small fleet that will be defending yourselves from these biomechanical monsters and creatures. And I'm sure you saw there's a lot of craziness going on with just different attacks and just giant kaiju-like monsters within it. So it's really fun and exciting game.
The anime creations in this game are unreal, man. There is like this Pixar kind of beauty as you get into it, and it's like, wow, this is really, and the music's kind of lovely, and then it's just murdering you as you jump into this thing.
I completely agree with you. It took me some time, like on the lowest mode. It is challenging, but it's rewarding. Something that when you destroy an enemy, it doesn't just blow up and pop off screen. You see it explode. You see everything from it shutting down, and you get to really have that satisfaction of, I defeated this creature. So I thought that was really great.
Yeah, you can see the stages of these creations exploding. It's very, very satisfying. Now, I haven't played tons of levels. Is it a long game? Like, is it longer than classic scrolling shooters?
It's a bit longer, but I would say, maybe fitting more of like Gradius and other titles that we have. So you still get like really great cutscenes that after every level you get to see a little bit more lore to the entire planet of Signy. Like, why are we here? What are we doing?
Nice.
And so I wouldn't say it's ridiculously long. It's definitely digestible.
And replayable.
Yes, replayable.
Yeah. I felt that even from what I tasted. It was like, I'm hooked. I want to play this some more. I want to play this some more. You find different strategies.
I was so jealous of you guys. I wanted to just jump in. It's like, hey, let's all play.
That's a good sign. What kinds of weapons do you get to augment your craft with? What kinds of cool things are you able to do?
So you have things from lasers, of course, your traditional lasers, a spaceship, the Orca. You have missiles. You have a shield that you could switch in and out for defensive tactics. So when you're getting bombarded by all these different enemies, you're able to just try to push your way through so that you can really just gun everything down. You have to go in for sure, all guns blazing.
Man, I had an incredible time at Konami, but more than that, I'm just happy to see Konami coming out with all kinds of new titles. I hope this continues. Konami is one of the best brands in the whole video game universe, and I can't wait to see what they've got cooking for us next. Now, over in the world of movies, I actually had time to go check out Blue Beetle while I was in Toronto, and I'll have more on that trip in a second here. Now, I saw the movie in a theater that didn't have many people in it, which was a bit disconcerting because obviously I am all in on superhero movies, and I like the character of Blue Beetle. I'm not super familiar with the tales and the comics of Blue Beetle. I haven't really read them, so I can't speak to how comics accurate this film was, but I can tell you that Xolo Maridueña is a fantastic lead actor. Of course, I love him on Cobra Kai, but he was the perfect person to cast as Jaime Reyes, who is so charming and so smart. He is the first in the Reyes family to get a college education, and we get a deep dive into the family relationships. And of course, everybody in the family has got a great sense of humor and a lot of love for Jaime, and they're a big part of the story. And so the story of the Blue Beetle movie is that there's a tremendous amount of heart in this film. And it's well made, but it also has a ceiling. It's an origin tale, and we see how the Blue Beetle gets his powers, and Susan Sarandon plays the bad guy, the villain in this thing, and she's kind of playing it like she is in a streaming movie, not in a big budget Hollywood superhero blockbuster, and the film kind of feels constrained by that. She's okay, and she's a little Machiavellian. You can see her just sort of dismissing people left and right in terms of man myth, a little of the Miles Morales stuff for sure, and also kind of made me think of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well, especially the 80s vibe. I'd be happy to see Xolo Maridueña come back as Jaime Reyes and the Blue Beetle. I think he's terrific. I'm going to give Blue Beetle a 7.5 out of 10. Now, why I was in Toronto was actually because Intel Canada flew me out to check out the gaming garage. Take a look.
Asma Aziz works for Intel Canada. She's the country manager, and we're here at the gaming garage at the CNE, and it's basically Intel's show. I'm looking around. I don't think there would be any gaming garage without Intel. Was that the idea?
Absolutely, you got it right. Firstly, I want to thank you for being here with us today. All that you see from this end to that end, it's the gaming garage. This is Intel's first time here. We wanted to provide an opportunity to all the visitors that come into CNE to come and try out Intel-powered devices. So the latest and greatest in the gaming world, powered by Intel. We've got all these devices here. On top of it, we've got all our partners. Also, you see Best Buy back there. So if anybody likes anything, they can buy it right now. There are special deals. There are prizes if you buy today and throughout the next 18 days.
I go to a lot of conventions and you can buy like art and comic books and things like that, but not too often do I see you can walk up and buy a computer if you want to. And do they have that stuff here?
Yes, that's right behind us at the Best Buy. So they usually can do free shipping. There's other places you can pick up the product.
And you're getting a deal if you buy it.
Yes. And I think I also want to tell your viewers and listeners, on the weekends, we've got a lot of special stuff happening. So there's going to be gaming contests happening. There's a free play area right behind that. There are 80 machines there. You can come and free play. On the weekends,
They're all Intel chips as well.
They're all powered by Intel.
Unbelievable.
All Core i9s, i7s, all the cool machines. So you can come here, you can do contests. We are going to have some really friendly competitions. And you can win up to $20,000 in pricing.
Wow.
So that's going to be available for grabs.
That's awesome. And now the Gaming Garage has been going on for a while. Why is it so important to Intel? Why was it important for you to commit to so much floor space and so much support for this event?
So I think we did it for our customers. We believe that, when we started having a conversation with the CNE, that there are people who are going to be coming here. We want to give them an awesome experience. We want to give them a hands-on experience so that when they come in with their kids, the families, the adults, they come on their own, they can be, and this shows our commitment to the community. You and I were talking about how gaming is a community play. It's not an isolated activity. So this is also an opportunity for gamers to come in, meet up with each other, friendly contest with each other, play around. So I think that's what we are trying to provide. And I think, post-COVID, really, I feel the options have been limited for people
to get out
and enjoy. So this is our sort of give back to our customers. Come here, enjoy, play. You can see kids are playing here, adults are at the back. So everybody seems to be, and we are 2 hours into the show? I hear from CNE, they're expecting 1.5 million people to walk through the doors in the next 18 days.
How do you keep ASUS from fighting with Omen? Do they have brawls? Do they charge at each other? Or is Intel in the middle to make sure nobody fights?
We are making sure everybody is so friendly. We are all, friends in here. Yes, we have our own,
It's competitive but friendly.
Competitive and friendly. But I think in the end of the day, we want the customers to be the winners. They need to come here, have the best experience, learn something new, be able to take a new machine home, possibly, and just come and play and enjoy.
It was really cool to meet everybody from Intel Canada and also a lot of their partners. And I met with a lot of people that were just attending the Gaming Garage. And some people recognized me from the TV show. And some people, I got called a YouTuber, which I thought was hilarious. But it was a really fun time. So thank you to Intel Canada. Now let's switch over to the world of television and Star Wars. I've seen the first 2 episodes of AHSOKA. And I have to tell you that there is something really special cooking in this show. I wasn't blown away by the first episode. The first episode is kind of slow-paced. It's a lot of build-up. We're reintroduced to Sabine and Hera, who longtime Star Wars fans are going to know and recognize from the animated Star Wars Rebels TV show. And there's a lot of connections to the lore and the storytelling of that series. But I don't think you need to know all of the details of Rebels. I think you will get a lot more out of this show if you have been following Rebels, because it's pretty cool to see these animated characters come to life. But I wasn't blown away by the performances of Natasha Liu Bordizzo as Sabine or Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera, and part of it is that their energy kind of matched up with the more contemplative vibe of Ahsoka, which Rosario Dawson is playing this adult Jedi who is always thinking before she acts, and everybody felt a little bit too mellow, but I've only seen the first 2 episodes. What I did love were the combat sequences that we got in here, some really cool cool lightsaber duels. I also love Ray Stevenson, rest in peace, as the villain Baylan Skoll. He's terrific and menacing and powerful, has kind of an empathy for the Jedi and understanding of the Jedi. That's about all I'll say. And he's got an ally, Shin Hati, played by AHSOKA, who is deadly and ferocious and super energized. There is a tremendous amount of mystery coming out of this show and a lot of connect the dots across the entire galaxy of Star Wars, which I'm digging. And of course, we're leading up to the reveal of somebody that we've wanted in live action for a long time, which I won't spoil. But honestly, it was like night and day going from the first episode to the second episode. I was like at the edge of my seat, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the next episode, and I'm definitely in for this series. Now, the one sort of complaint that I would give and level at this show, and you know, honestly, a lot of the Star Wars shows, is you can kind of feel the budget of these series, and the environments feel a little bit empty. Like even the city shots, the establishing shots, there's just not that much vehicular traffic. It feels like they just didn't paint enough stuff in. And also when we're on some of the sets, it feels like they're not super populated. And the other thing is that everything is so clean and so hyper digital and sharp. I kind of want there to be a little bit more of a roughed in look to the show and to Star Wars on television in general. I'd like the cameras to move in some zippier ways and to have some dust and dirt and scratches on the screen. It doesn't really fit with the look of the animated series, both Rebels and Clone Wars, or the prequels. So I understand the sort of stylistic decisions here, but I just all felt super hyper digital for me. I'd love to hear your thoughts when you watch Ahsoka and your thoughts in general on Star Wars on Disney Plus. Are you happy with where they're going? I really am digging the show, though. I can't wait to see this, and I'm looking forward to some character arcs and some growth, and of course, some mysteries revealed. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for the rundown. I know there was a ton of stuff in there. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for supporting EPN, for subscribing to this channel, but also following us on twitch.tv/EPN. I'll be back soon with some new reviews. I've got Starfield, that's all I can say, and lots of cool things are coming your way. It's an incredible time of the year, and I feel very, very lucky. We'll see you soon, and until then, play forever.